anytime that Jeff had a piano near him, you know you're getting serenaded.
We need to make destruction really sing.
Bad. Some humans are nice.
They don't matter.
We have an amazing costume designer, Rebecca Hale, and Jeff also has a personal stylist called Andrew Vitero, and those two work together brilliantly to create this fabulous Zeus. And yeah, the first shot of the back of his neck and that tracksuit is a thing, you know, a thing of dreams. My favourite thing about modernising it in general was probably how we made Earth feel, because one of my favourite films of all time is the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, and that was definitely a huge influence on me when I was thinking about this and writing this, and something I spoke to Georgine Renuaro, the directors, about a lot. And I think they felt something. I remember seeing a Shakespeare play transposed to a kind of version of Miami, and the way that you went into Verona just felt so exciting, and that was definitely an influence for me when I was thinking about Crete and Kaos. I was really lucky that we just had two fabulous directors, and one thing Georgie did was she had Georgie, the lead director, had a mood board which she made, I think she shared with everybody, so she would kind of upload or download her thinking visually for scenes and stuff, and then costume would feed in, makeup would feed in, production design, and so she created this kind of iterative, I guess, living document. And also what I do when I write is I often write tracks into the script, so that I can, when I send it to people to read, and I send them a playlist, because I think it's an easier way to get a sense of what the show should feel like. And most of the time, we can never afford the music, until now. That soundtrack is so eclectic, and yet it kind of feels like it works as a whole. And I think with this world, we were trying to work out how to make something feel expansive and yet specific, and actually the music being quite disparate. For me, it works because you're doing something that feels big, and yet and our score by Isabella Summers, she's amazing. She kind of, the way she composed the music, I think, kind of navigates you through the commercial tracks and the three worlds, and she's always pulling you back with this on this kind of tonal tightrope. And yeah, so I think using humour and music for me was like what kind of became the glue to make it feel coherent.
Serve the gods, great honor, right?
And it'd do you all good to remember that.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you shoot me?
I sent Georgie Banks-Davis, our Block 1 director, two pictures. One of Kel from Kenan and Kel, and one of Crash Bandicoot. And I was like, I think that my Dionysus is a combination of these two characters. What do you think? And Georgie was like, yeah, great. Just like, let's put some of the emotional vulnerability in there. I was like, yeah, that too. Crash Bandicoot, because I watch a lot of animation. I like to take inspiration from animated characters and animated storytelling. I think there's something really, I don't want to say pure, but there's something different to pull from, as opposed to like real life characters, which is definitely real life people, which is definitely an inspiration. So there's that sort of side of things, and he's sort of like wild and crazy, but there's an odd innocence to Crash Bandicoot, I find. I don't know, maybe I'm projecting there, but I always found that with him. He was kind of like lost in the jungle and didn't know, but he was like just so like unaware of everything, and I feel Dionysus kind of shares some of those traits. And Kel, just because it's an iconic performance, it's an iconic portrayal of a character that like people of my generation all grew up with, and very like outward, like almost declamatory like style of acting, which you don't really see anymore. I really wanted to lean into that sort of thing and challenge myself, so that was more of kind of physical performance thing that I kept in the back of my mind with Kel. Shout out to Kel Mitchell.
A line appears, the order wanes, the family falls.
One highlight was definitely in episode 8, there's a big kind of showdown with all the gods, or most of the gods. And I wrote it I think it was a 10-minute scene, and I always thought I'd be asked to cut it, and I wasn't. And so it was kind of like watching these actors who are all just superb rehearse and do a play. It was amazing. That was really cool. I really loved all of it. I honestly, I was I was so overexcited. I mean, I remember going for the tech recce to the Plaza de España, and they said, "Oh, this is where we're going to film. This might be where we film Minos' Palace," and I got really teary. I just couldn't believe it was. It's quite unprofessional, but I got really emotional about it. I just couldn't really believe it. And then an amazing moment was when, in episode 8, so we got Susie Izzard has as Lackey the Fate has a scene with Zeus with Jeff, and I was there chatting to them, trying to be cool. And I know Susie's stand up basically off by heart. I know Dress to Kill. I could probably do it word for word. I won't, don't worry. But I was there with her and with Jeff, like these two legends. And I said, "Oh, do you think, Jeff, have you ever heard Susie do the Death Star Canteen skit?" And he said, No. And she did it live in the desert in Almeria. And then Jeff was like, "Oh, I'm gonna," and then he started doing kind of whole scenes from the Godfather II where he did all the parts. That was a really surreal, kind of amazing day.
Poseidon's yacht was shot on an actual yacht, so there's a fact, in Ischia off the island off Naples. And it was just so picturesque. Really hard to shoot on a yacht, by the way. I don't know if not many people know this, but don't shoot on a yacht. But it looks incredible. It was incredible. And one night the crew let us have dinner after we wrapped. So Jeff's there, Janet's there, Cliff's there, and we were having dinner on the yacht. Georgie's there, and it was, yeah, that was pretty incredible. And also any time that Jeff had a piano near him, you know you're getting serenaded.
They put poop all over our statue. Why would you think that that's funny?
Kaos came about because I have a lifelong obsession with Greek myths. I was quite a geeky child, and I watched the 1981 Clash of the Titans apparently on a daily basis, and I was completely obsessed. And then I got, I think I was given a Greek mythology children's book, and then as I got older I kind of graduated to all the different kind of retellings. So I love things like Percy Jackson, and I read things like Margaret Atwood's The Penelopiad, and I just got really interested in kind of modern reinterpretations of the classical myths. The first play I wrote was in 2009, and it was taking this classical figure, Clytemnestra, and she was dead and she was being processed in the underworld, and the underworld was this kind of dusty old bureaucratic nightmare. And I just loved the idea of putting this figure in this setting. And then I started thinking like maybe this could be something bigger. Would it be an immersive theatre piece? Didn't get the funding. And then I had this idea of Zeus having a midlife crisis. That felt kind of funny and interesting to me. And slowly I built these ideas up. And after I did End of the World, I pitched just a bigger show about Greek mythology, and amazingly enough, I was allowed to make it. So that's kind of how we got here.
If I could play another god, Hades is one that intrigues me, because a god who's also very much a bureaucrat and, you know, wears a suit and tie, I think that's instantly like, what? Like, that's just so interesting. So yeah, I'm drawn to Hades, but David Thewlis, you know, there's no matching him.